Okay, it is 6:30. We'll call the meeting to order. I'll take a roll call first. Trustee DeBoer.
Here.
Trutchell.
Here.
Pfeiffer.
Here.
Walschlager.
Here.
Connor.
Here.
Hallquist. Here. And President Vanderstill is excused this evening, as is Ryan Bailey, our village manager. We will need a motion for a chair pro tem, please.
Make a motion that Ian is the chair pro tem.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Trustee Walschlager will be our chair.
Okay, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Trustee Pfeiffer.
Recording in progress.
Well, we have quite a full room tonight. It's nice to see that. We're going to start with public comments, and if anyone that wants to speak in public comments can step up to the microphone and please give your name and your address, and then whatever your public comments are, we would appreciate it. Nobody? No public comments? Okay.
And I would ask that you keep them to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Corey Saffert, 308 Woodlands Court. I ask the board to deny the restricted species permit application request for Lori Baumann. Approving additional dogs would not be in the best interest of the animals, the neighborhood, or the intent of our ordinance. I respectfully ask the board to uphold the existing 2-dog limit.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lucille Wittenberg, and my address is 315 Woodlands Court, and I'm next door to Kevin Gifford with the dogs, and the dogs don't deserve to be treated the way they're treated. She leaves them out 3 minutes in the morning, 3 minutes at night. Kevin cannot feed them, cannot take them outside. The dogs don't deserve her, and she sure the heck don't deserve these dogs. We used to visit Kevin. The house stinks like dog now, so we don't even go visit no more because it's so rancid in that house. Lori wants to take over his house, run the house, control the house. And these poor dogs, she's supposed to show dogs, but she don't take care of them at all whatsoever. So I don't want her to keep these 5 dogs in his house.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Mark Miner. Over the past several years, the Ice Age Trail Alliance has
Could you give us your address, please?
375 Hill Street.
Okay.
Has devoted significant time and resources toward habitat improvement in the Hartland Marsh. Additionally, 2 new boardwalks have replaced deteriorating ones. Now the Ice Age Trail Alliance would like to highlight the Hartland Marsh by routing the trail into the Hartland Marsh via the Waukesha County Land Conservancy land. This would require crossing Cottonwood Avenue, and I believe that is on the agenda for tonight. I know there was concern over truncated domes, making it accessible, but there are other options as far as maintaining the current route as an accessible route so that we wouldn't need the truncated domes to cross the trail across Cottonwood. So that's basically what I have, and hope you'll consider that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Sure, just keep it short. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you that these dogs are locked in cages in the basement. Besides, full of pee, poop, you name it. And they don't deserve their life. Thank you.
Do we have anyone on Zoom?
Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to contribute to public comment?
Okay. Last call for public comments? All right, we'll move on to item number 1, consideration of approval of minutes for May 26, 2026.
I'll make a motion to approve minutes for May 26, 2026.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes for May 26, 2026. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Disapprove? All right, that passes. Now, item 2, items for vouchers, consideration of vouchers for payment in the amount of $2,079,992.29.
I'll make a motion to approve the voucher payment of $2,079,992.29.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the vouchers. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
I had a question on one of the things in there, yes.
Okay.
For fire department, safe, $10,750, were those the safes for the narcotics?
Yes, sir. So that's a portion of the safes. We're still waiting for our remaining safe to arrive, and they'll invoice that one when it gets shipped out. That's expected sometime.
How much were they per safe?
They're roughly about anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000 because they're linked to the internet, and they have a software that runs through and tracks everything on them.
Anyone else? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. The next item is the 2025 financial audit presentation by Michelle Walter from Baker Tilly.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. As I said, Michelle Walter with Baker Tilly, Senior Manager. I've been working on the village audit for several years, and we'll go through a very high-level summary of the audit, the financial statements themselves. So overall, the objective of your audit is for us, your auditors, to be able to issue an opinion on the financial statements. And for 2025, we are able to issue an unmodified opinion on the audit. That is what you want to receive from your auditors. It's the highest level of assurance you can get. And it means that all of the information included in the financial statements is materially accurate, and that proper accounting policies and principles have been followed, and that disclosures are all appropriate. So that's on pages 1 to 2 of your financial statements. Pages 3 to 15 include management's discussion and analysis, and this is overall the village's purview of what happened during the year. So it's very high level. If you want to read something in the financial statements for summary, that's where I'll point you to. When we start getting into the overall results of the audit, the general fund is the main operating fund of the village. So all of these funds, if you want to dig into detail later, these are on pages 19 to 23 of your financial statements. So the general fund had about $9.7 million of revenues in 2025 compared to $9.2 million of expenditures. There was about $242,000 of transfers that went out of the general fund, which overall fund balance in the general fund increased about $213,000 up to $7.5 million. This is broken out into a couple different buckets. The first is considered non-spendable fund balance, which is about $57,000. This is all your prepaids. So cash that went out the door, but the income statement effect isn't on there yet. It's for future years. There's about $1.6 million that is assigned, and these are all projects that are assigned by the village manager. So various different projects, and these are all detailed out on page 58. The remaining bucket of fund balance is about $5.8 million. This is free to use as the village needs to fund operations. So an indicator that we like to look at is what is this percentage of subsequent budget expenditures, and that's about 58%. So very strong position for the general fund to be in. The village also has a policy to maintain this balance of at least 25% of budgeted revenues, and this is at about 59%, so well in the good area for the general fund. Touching briefly on a couple of the other funds of the village, TIF 4 overall saw an increase this year in fund balance of about $29,000. So this took the fund out of a deficit into positive fund balance about $912. So that is all restricted for TIF purposes. TIF 6 overall added to fund balance of about $17,000. So this fund had a deficit, and it brought the deficit down to about $1.2 million. TIF 7 had expenditures of a little over $1 million this year, and that was mostly related to Progress Drive and some of the pieces that were contributed to the sewer utility, which we'll see in a second. So this fund ended the year at a deficit of $1,093,000. Both of these deficits are very normal for our TID districts, as it will be recouped in future years with the tax increment that is collected. The debt service fund is the next fund of the village. Overall, this fund increased fund balance by about $295,000, mostly related to premium on the new debt issue that's sitting in this fund. So at the end of the year, there's about $506,000 in fund balance, and all of that's restricted to pay debt service. The village projects fund during the year increased fund balance of about $1.8 million. This is related to the debt that was borrowed during the year that wasn't fully spent. So at the end of 2025, there was about $6 million in fund balance. This has 3 buckets as well in fund balance. So there's about $2.3 million that is non-spendable because it's kind of sitting there to cover the deficit in those 2 TIDs. If those TIDs were to go under or do something, Capital Projects Fund would fund that fund balance. There's $3.2 million that is restricted, and that's all of the unspent debt proceeds that have been earmarked with certain projects. So that leaves about $377,000 that's assigned for future capital projects. The Corporate Reserve Fund is the last major fund of the village, and overall, this fund decreased fund balance by about $110,000. So down to about $1.5 million. All of this is assigned for future capital projects. The far right column of here is the non-major funds, and these can be found on page 86 to 89, but this includes your refuse and garbage, special library, impact fee fund, major incident task force, as well as the developers fund. So all of these combined fund balance was about $815,000 at year end. When we look at the 2 utilities of the village, the water utility had a net income of the year of $896,000. This is up from where it's been at in the prior year, but a big portion of this related to the PFAS settlements that were received in 2025, so that added to net position. The sewer utility also saw a net income of about $1.2 million. And a lot of this increase is due to the contribution that was from TID 7. So TID 7 paid for some infrastructure work and contributed it to the sewer utility. So water utility at the end of the year had net position of about $16 million and sewer utility about $12 million. This is broken up into 2 buckets. The first is called net invested in capital assets. And that's your infrastructure that's in the ground minus any debt. So not spendable cash, but still a net position at this point. Water was about $11.9 million and sewer was $5.1. So this left unrestricted net position in water utility of about $4.2 million and sewer at about $6.8 million. So good positions for both of those utilities. The other item that we'd like to call out is page 53 to 55 has a summary of your long-term obligations. So at the end of 2025, the governmental funds had about $21 million of long-term debt, and the business type funds about $3 million. These are payable through 2045, so they stretch out for a period of time. But when you look at the debt limit that the village has, you could borrow up to $22 million. The second document that we issue is more a narrative of the audit process itself. So this is labeled as the reporting and insights document. So this is our communication to you and to management. There's several pieces in here. We go through the objectives of the audit, the responsibilities of us as well as management. If there were any internal control items, such as material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, we would call them out here. Happy to report that we didn't have any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, and the audit process went very smooth as we've come to expect. So even with the village manager being out, we were able to complete this process with the same level of effort as in the past. We are required to have certain communications. Any new accounting principles that were included, which there were none this year. Any estimates included in the financial statements. Any difficulties as part of the audit, which happy to report there were none. And any independence issues, which once again, there were none. The last section of this report is called two-way communication, and that's really us reaching out to you guys. The audit's not just once a year. And, you know, if anything were to come up during the year, we are always around, available to have that discussion. So that's what I have in a brief nutshell. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have at this point.
I just have one. You said our term is unmodified.
Yep.
What would be a bad term? I mean,
If you had a modified opinion, which very close to unmodified, or a qualified opinion, that would entail items like we can't opine on something because we can't tell if the number is good or bad. But unmodified, you might have also heard this as unqualified in the past, which also doesn't sound great, but those are the terms. Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 4, which is consideration and review of items related to licenses and permits. The first item, which is regarding the restricted species permit that has been discussed earlier. Ms. Baumann could not make the meeting tonight. She requested that she be heard on June 22nd. It's up to you what we're going to do. We can table it, or
I think.
I don't, can we do that? If it's not in public comment?
Yeah. We had public comment. Did you have something related to this? Because it doesn't generally open up to the public when that item is discussed on the agenda.
I'm the owner of 317 Woodlands Court, Kevin Gifford. She has applied.
Are we okay?
Pertain-
So are we okay?
Excessive animals.
Yeah.
All right,
My house.
please
without
come up,
even telling
sir.
me.
Can you come up to the microphone? And please state your name and your address, please. Just so you all know, we don't normally do this, but I think this is very relevant to what we're discussing.
I'm Kevin Gifford. I have been in the community now 26 years in August. I ran Lake Country Mortgage on the main street for 10 years. The crash happened, we migrated to the office at home thing where I run Lake Country Mortgage in my home. So I'm there basically all the time. I have clients who will no longer come into my house because of the dog odors. I have whole sections of my front yard that are dead grass from all the left behind fecal and such that she left, particularly in the snowy season. I go out after she cleans the lawn, and I clean the lawn. I usually pick up an additional 2 scoops. I have 3 adult golden retrievers living in my basement in those tan plastic cages with a stainless, or it's not stainless, it's whatever it is, silver door. The male and the 2 females, none of them are fixed. She keeps them in breeding stock condition. She considers herself a breeder. She's a dog groomer. She's in Madison right now, grooming dogs. She contributes nothing to the rent in the house. The basement floor in the back downstairs has 4 cages, one for a collie that's a show collie, so she keeps that one in the bedroom I've allowed her to use. The mother collie had 6 puppies on December 11th. With her expertise, 5 of them died. Wonderful, wonderful dog person. The cages downstairs where the Goldens are have a schmear and a collection that some of you have seen, but I won't get into that now, where there is a slurry of urine and fecal that has crusted on the door ledge and all around. And when she takes them out for 3 minutes in the morning, they then come in and get their breakfast. The lights are turned off. She yells at me if I violate her, can't you just do what you're told? She doesn't want me to do this because they have to be able to hold their bowels for at least the 12 hours so that she can be gone to do her work. So she comes home anywhere from 6:30 to 9:30 and lets them out for another 3 minutes. The totality of time that these dogs are sitting in the dark exceeds 23 hours, 50 minutes a day. They live in a slurry of their own waste. Yeah, they have water buckets. Yeah, the water's changed every day, so they have clean water. And they have pretty reasonable kibble, but not canned food or anything. You wouldn't treat a prisoner like this. These dogs are in jail. I don't care where they go. Any existence that they get if they leave my home is going to be an improvement. I can no longer sit by and be chastised, yelled at, and punished in my own home for violating the rules. She has also brought an assortment of various collections of hoarding. She has the bedroom I let her use. At the time, she was rather out of it. She called me in tears. I'm being thrown out by the sheriff with my 4 dogs. Oh my God, what do I do? Tears, tears. I said, just come here. We'll figure something out. It's supposed to last 2 weeks. It's 21 months. I want it over. We also had an eviction hearing last Monday. She pulled the same stunt she just did with you. She didn't show up, even though she had mail service. I paid the sheriff to serve her 3 times. They came once, and they mail served her. The court clerk said, well, how do I know when you said you brought the mail in from the mailbox, you didn't just see it and throw it away? Basically calling me a liar. I really appreciated that. I'm trying to protect my home. I have a various number of reasons. I could go on for 15 minutes, but I'm told I'm supposed to speak for like more than or less than I have. Thank you for letting me do this. This is my neighbor Jeff, Arnie, Lou, and others that are here that know me. I don't abuse the rules. My habit running the mortgage company has always been to reach out to people, particularly those in need, and I help people who are in trouble. In a moment of weakness, I said, yes, come here, we'll figure something out. She manipulated me by dropping the name of a friend I trust very much. I would not trust Lauren Baumann to bend over to tie my shoe at this point. I want her out of my house, out of my life, and out of this village. I find her to be very poorly put together mentally. Disagree with me? That's okay. I have to put up with her daily. I'll let them speak to the thing if they so choose to do. But to disregard and shove this off another month just so she can come back and stretch this to the end of summer, if I could have my way, if the eviction had gone forward on Monday, she'd be out of the house now.
She did ask for it to be at our next meeting, which is in 2 weeks.
I don't care.
I'm just saying it's not a month, it's 2 weeks.
Yeah, but then after that, then I can move forward the rest of the eviction. It's just going to keep weeks and weeks and weeks. She stretches the process. I first gave her notice that she was to leave 90 days ago. I gave her instructions last fall, 9 months ago. I needed my house back for family purposes. She said, your parents can't come here because you don't have the safety rails in the showers. It's like, you get the point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to add, I believe we have every right to vote on this tonight.
I don't know this person. I did not talk to her. She talked to the people up in the office, to Sandy. So I'm going to turn this over to Sandy as far as what was
So the
said.
deputy clerk took in the application. I did not see her speak with her. When I notified her last Thursday morning with the Zoom link and the requirement that this was on the agenda, she explained that she does work Monday evenings and wouldn't be able to be here. She works until 7. I said, well, it's either tonight or June 22nd. Those are our 2 June meetings, that she be able to appear via Zoom tonight, but she explained that she works till 7. So that's all I can speak to. We exchanged emails, and that was our exchange on Friday, I believe it was. And then today is when she said she would need it to be on the June 22nd.
Which is also a Monday.
It is also a Monday, 2 weeks from tonight.
It's up to the board.
Rick, did you have something you wanted to add?
I was just gonna say that I feel if it was that important that she could make accommodations to be here. It's Monday's Monday, so next 2 weeks from now, it's gonna be the same thing if she works Monday, so I don't see really the purpose of delaying anything.
I would agree that, and I don't know what she's gonna come in here, then she's gonna say that's gonna make me feel better about the situation. I don't care if she's standing here or not. This is,
I will say I'm a golden retriever person. I have a 10-year-old and I have a 4-month-old. And it was very hard for me to listen to what you all said.
I might point out one more thing. When those dogs
Come up to the
showed
microphone, please.
When the dogs showed up a year and a half ago, they were beautiful, wonderful. They're all friendly. They're gentle as can be. And they mind because everything she does, she screams at the top, get down. And she's conversant like they understand English. I'm just marvel. It's like, the basic 5 words of training, stick to the 5 words so that you don't have to scream. The dogs all mind wonderfully. But these were gorgeous dogs like yours. And now they all have that white mask from living in the dark for a year and a half. They all have white death face. I'll be amazed if these dogs are alive 2 years from now and they're like 4 or 5 years old. These dogs are in hell.
Thank you. Chief, have you been over there for anything at all?
So we're the reason this is at the village board right now. We got called by the homeowner who let us into the home, and we did it, made some observations. Well, the conditions were not of the most sanitary. They also were not to a point of maltreatment or neglect. We did speak with the humane officer about it. We did take photographs. I think we actually just received even some photographs and video from some of the witnesses that are here today as close as this past weekend. We have completed, or not completed, but started drafting a police report, and that will get forwarded to the Waukesha DA's office for review, not for charges. We're not charging the crimes. We're not sure if we meet the elements. We want them to review it and make that decision if they feel that the elements are met for that. So that is something the police department's doing separate to this issue. But obviously it was brought to our attention that there were more than the 2 dogs as our ordinance allows. And then that's when we asked them, or asked her, to make sure they were licensed appropriately, and that if they needed a restricted species permit if they were in excess of the amount. So that's what brought this to the village board ultimately.
And that's what we're going to address tonight. Unfortunately, we are not addressing the fact of maybe she doesn't deserve to have the dogs. That's my personal opinion, but this is just really hard for me. So, okay, so.
Go ahead.
Well,
I'm gonna.
I have a question real quick, Kevin. Where did she come from? I mean, where did she move from?
She had a house in Berlin, Wisconsin, that she was renting up there. Sorry, that's Lou, she knows too.
I was just
They're like
curious 'cause-
family. They're my next door neighbors.
No, I was just curious because the emotional support animal came from a doctor up in Fond du Lac, so I was just curious that he is currently under his supervision, but from Fond du Lac, so that was my, trying to put pieces of
I don't even know what you're
puzzle
talking
together.
about, I'm sorry.
Pardon me?
But she was in Fond du Lac and kicked out of her apartment there.
Okay,
Then
okay.
she went, and I didn't know, because at the time I called the realtor whose name she, name dropped on me. Oh, I'm Cindy's friend. So on the basis of, I trust Cindy implicitly. She's a great realtor and a good friend. So I was like, yeah, and I had talked to her back in 2018 about trying to get her pre-qualified, but her credit was challenged. So I had talked to her on the phone half a dozen times years ago. So, and I had just gotten out of surgery a couple months before, and I was not well. It was still private. Cindy told me that she had to get a couple of her neighbors to call in complaints about excessive dogs and dog waste and stuff, so that they could get the Humane Society to come in and scare her that the dogs would be taken. And then she ran, and then she went to Berlin, and she occupied the space up there. She gave me a whole song and dance story, which would take 10 minutes to tell, so we're not doing that tonight. But I believed her, and then we got up there, and I helped her move the last of her stuff out of the house into a storage garage, and then bring a moving truck back down here for essentials. The house had, conservatively speaking, the dog room that had the cages in it, you could have knit 3 sweaters with the amount of hair that was loose on the floor in that room in Berlin. And at that point I thought, what have I gotten into? But it was too late. But it's just, I mean, there it was more convenient because she was working and living in the same town. She's working in Madison. So she does an hour's drive to Fitchburg or wherever to do this grooming, plus the whole day. And she's given me a grand scale $75 towards bills the entire time she's been here. And I told her up front, I'm gonna charge you $700 a bedroom. Well, she's got 1 bedroom she lives in, the carpeting that she and the collie have been occupying. The collie gets sick a lot and throws up. So the carpeting is gonna have to be torn out and replaced. You go down the hall into the other bedroom, what we call our guest bedroom. It's got a queen size bed. There's 2 feet of clothing stacked on top of the mattress over the whole thing, then piles along the floor, then a full closet completely overstuffed. The bedroom she's in, there's piles of all kinds of stuff. The closet's overstuffed, and then she's a hoarder. She collects I mean, anybody that wants to
I
is
don't mean to
invited.
stop you, but we need to
I
stay
know,
on topic
but you're invited
here.
to come see for yourself.
Okay.
I drafted a letter, but I actually changed my Wi-Fi password so she couldn't, because she also just took it upon herself to go buy motion activation cameras with sound without telling me that she put
Okay.
into the bedrooms. And what kind of a person comes in and squats in your house and brings a gun and doesn't tell you they brought a gun into your house? And I asked the cops when they first came, could you guys please take the gun because I don't know that she's altogether there, and
That's a
hold it
subject
until
for-
she leaves.
Yeah, that's for another
but that's where I
discussion.
was.
Thank you.
Okay, so basically what's on the table tonight is that she's asking for 2 additional dogs, right?
3.
3 additional dogs?
Are the other ones
That's what we're-
licensed?
She came in and licensed 2 of the dogs, and she's requesting that 3 additional ones be allowed under the restricted species application.
Okay, so that's what we have to, okay,
So
so I'm
we're
gonna
here to
make,
vote
I'm gonna
on-
make a motion to deny the request.
Second.
For the additional dogs.
Okay. Motion's been made to deny it, and it's been seconded. Any other discussion? Although,
I'd like to add that I'd like to request that PD keep a close eye on this and make sure it gets followed through properly.
and also possibly Humane Society or someone to follow up about the animals, no? Not possible?
There's nothing the Humane Society can do.
Okay.
We obviously investigated the matter for the mistreatment. Like I said, that will be referred down to the district attorney's office for their review. As soon as she found out about that, she did want to know where our warrant was. And again, we had consent of the homeowner, so we won't get into all that.
Okay.
To Trustee Pfeiffer's question, we absolutely will follow up, and we've already advised her that she will receive a citation, and as long as she doesn't move out, she'll receive additional citations if the board were to rule in this matter. So she knew the outcomes if it was approved or denied.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Did you want to say anything? No. Okay, all those,
I want to be clear, though, we can't make her leave the house. I can't
No, this
pull
is
up
just
a
for the
moving truck
licensing
and
for the
move people.
dogs.
This is America still.
Yeah.
And the other part of that is the homeowner has been advised, and he's working through the proper eviction process and to do that civil matter appropriately.
I brought 8 sets of eviction papers and the court case that got terminated, if you all want to read them.
That doesn't really pertain to what we're voting on here, but thank you.
I was advised that you guys might want them, so I brought them.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all those in favor of denying this?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone want to oppose?
No.
Okay, that carries. That has been denied for Lori Baumann for having more than, she can only have the 2. And you've got the names of the 2 that she's already got?
We do. We have the names
Okay.
of the ones that are licensed and the ones she was requesting today.
Okay, all right. The next item, consideration of special event application for Hartland Children's Business Fair in Nixon Park on August 13th.
Chloe, are you on Zoom for your application?
I am. Hello. So I'm here to ask you guys if I can host the 3rd annual Hartland Children's Business Fair at Nixon Park on Thursday, August 13th. I think most of you guys are a little bit familiar with this, but over the last couple of years, I have been able to host a little business fair at Nixon Park. We go right along the pathway leading up to the band shell. Last year we did it to coincide with the Thursday Night Live music, which was absolutely fantastic. We did it last year the same night as the Hartland Community Band, so we wanted to do that again this year on the 13th. Yeah, we host kids ages 6 through 14. It's almost like a farmer's market style setup. They each have their little booths. They have a 10 by 10 space. They're totally in charge of everything from the idea of what they're selling. They're asked to create it, and then they run their booths day of. So they're in charge of the customer service as well as the money math, and then they get to keep their profits.
It's awesome, thank you. And we have the setup here in the parking info. Does anyone have any questions?
I would just request that she would call in the Diggers Hotline. Like she has the last 3 years, so nothing's changed there, just calling the Diggers Hotline for that.
Did you hear Tom?
Area along the walkway.
Okay.
Perfect.
Diggers Hotline, okay.
Chloe, I just one question. I have the selling and serving food box checked yes. Is that like if the kids are selling cookies or something like that that they made? Is that the idea?
Yeah, so Sandy and I talked through this a little bit, and we decided to go ahead and check yes because we have had kids sell baked goods in the past. We've got one girl who comes out every year with a lemonade stand, so that would be the extent of it.
Okay, thank you.
Is the 13th clear? Because that's the preferred date. The 20th was the backup date. And is that a good night in the park?
It's the community band that night.
I will make a motion that we approve the special events application for Hartland Children's Business Fair at Nixon Park on August 13th with a backup date of the 20th.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Hartland Children's Business Fair. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. The next item is consideration of a special event application by the Hartland Chamber of Commerce for the business trick or treat on October 22nd.
Hello, I have submitted a special event permit with a road closure request for business trick or treat on October 22nd. Obviously, we've ran business trick or treat for many, many years in downtown Hartland, and it's very well attended. The reason we are asking for the closure is totally on safety, and that is where it ends and begins. So I am asking from Pauling and Cottonwood all the way down to Cottonwood at the four-way stop, down Capitol to Church Street to be closed. There is a map included as well.
Thoughts? Chief?
Yes, we did briefly talk about this. I believe the chamber received some complaints from people that attended in the past. The PD, I know, has been asked about why the road isn't closed with the influx of participants every year. I think there's pros and cons of doing this, but there is no doubt that this is a well-attended event. That is for sure. With the road closure, the only thing I would say, as I say it always, we always will make the event happen, but do understand that will take some additional resources, not as much from the police department, but from our other departments, mainly the Department of Public Works. If you think of our hometown parade, we would look to do something to harden that area like we do for the parade, and it's basically the back half of the parade that goes through the downtown area.
Does that include those concrete pieces that have to be
It would
moved?
be mostly vehicles, but we'd be talking about DPW trucks that I cannot move, that we would need DPW operators with appropriate licensing to move those, so there would be some resources we would need to deploy. The police department's already staffed this very well. We've done crossing guards to keep the crossing safe, in addition with volunteer crossing guards that we train the day of the event. So really, it may be another officer or two to assist with the road closure, but the heavier lift is going to be on the DPW side, on the equipment side, to make sure that it's a safe, secured area.
Thank you. Tom?
So yeah, like Torrance said, we're basically just copying what we would do on the back half of the parade, and kind of what we have for the back half of the parade is one small dump truck, one sewer truck, 5 plow trucks, 1 backhoe, and 2 pickups, and 18 barricades, and 8 staff members. So that's just, like Torrance said, you know, we can make this happen and do it. There's just always going to be a cost to doing things like this.
Do you have a rough estimate on the cost? Additional labor? If
Uh,
not, it's
8 staff members for the duration of the event. Event's how long?
So we requested to
2
close
hours.
at 5 and open at 8:30. It
Okay.
would give us a half an hour to clear out at the end of the event.
Yeah, so 2 hours at time and a half for 8 employees. Yeah, it's gonna be a decent chunk. I don't have that number in front of me right now, but yeah.
So, since the streets will be closed, are you gonna utilize the street for any functions?
Well, I want to keep them as closed for as limited amount of time as possible. So my intention is not to set up really much of anything in the street, because I want people in and out as quickly as they can.
And I think that was just more for flow, if you've ever been to the event, the sidewalks are shoulder to shoulder. Crosswalks are heavily used, so I think it was just more for flow. And then there's obviously a lot of great displays along the route where people like to take photographs, and we've had issues even with people trying to, I'll use the
Come onto the
Phoenix, they have the
street.
big pumpkins.
Yeah.
To get those in the shot, you gotta get back, and now you're borderline in the road to get good pictures. So we've taken some precautions in the past to keep that as safe as possible as well. So I think that's the main use, and then obviously if there's not attractions in the road, we can open the road as close to as when the event's over.
This every year, and my kids, I feel the same. It's super fun, and it's a great event, but it's jam-packed on the sidewalks, and there's kids darting across the road all the time. Safety is paramount, and obviously this isn't going away. So I do think that this is something that we should do. I wish it didn't cost what it's going to cost to do it, but again, safety for our residents is number one. So
Yes.
I would make a motion that we approve the special events application by the Hartland Chamber of Commerce, business trick or treat for October 22nd, including the street closure.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Hartland Chamber business trick or treat and closure of the road. Any more comments? Yes.
And then, obviously, I said pros and cons. One thing that just take into consideration and understand is we would be reducing some parking to our already heavily attended event where parking is already at a premium. Obviously, there are lots available. People don't tend to like to walk from lots, unfortunately. So they're not as used as maybe they could be, but they will be available, but we will lose that area to park, obviously, then. And that will move into the closing of a lot of business hours because we have to block that off early. So just, so full disclosure, everyone knows the true impact of the event.
I have a quick question. Has someone from the committee gone and talked to business people?
There's a letter in the application. It was dropped at every business owners or residents. We put in the apartments too.
Okay.
This last week. So when I walked around, they're like, "Oh, the street's not closed already." So the general feedback I heard was, "Glad you're doing it. You should have done it a long time ago," or "I thought it was already closed."
Okay, perfect. Okay.
All complaints will go to Elise Miller.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Elise.
guys. This was the right
Thanks,
one.
Elise.
All right, we are going to move on to the consideration of the annual renewal of licenses and permits for the period of July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027. And the first item, should we just go to this one then, the Class B?
Yes, so first
Okay.
we have the different classes of liquor licensing. We did invite establishments in, Chief Misko, I don't know if you want to speak to that and inform everyone what took place in May and why those establishments were invited this evening.
So as the board is aware, on May 19th, we did do alcohol age compliance checks. We did have 7 establishments sell to our underage participants. Those operators were individually cited, and letters were sent out before the operation, but then also followed up with a letter for establishments that did not sell and were successfully denied, and then obviously followed up with the ones that did, just to make sure everyone was aware of what occurred and what the results were.
And just so everyone knows, when this happens and liquor is sold to an underage, it's putting the business's liquor license in jeopardy, not just the bartender. And as there is a fine the first time, the second time, it's a criminal offense. Is that correct? Criminal?
Yeah, correct. The first time is within 30 months is a forfeiture or a citation. If it were to happen a second time and within 30-month period for the same person, then it could be an actual crime, a misdemeanor crime.
So it's something we have to be very careful of. And we don't want to be known as a place where you can go to get underage drinks either and have a bunch of kids coming in. So we're going to start off with the Class B beer and liquor license. Now, we could do this individually, or we can do all 13 together. Do all?
Yeah.
Okay, we can do them all.
Do all of the liquor license classes together, and then we do have listed separately amusement device renewals, cabaret and tobacco, and the weights and measures, those can all be done as well. And we did also invite, after that, we have bartender applications. So if you want to take the liquor licensing.
We'll do the businesses. Yeah.
So we'll take
First.
item D first, yes?
Yes.
So I'll make a motion to approve all of licenses and permits for the period of July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027, including all the said establishments below.
I'll second.
1 through 5, right?
Yes, 1 through 5.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Passes. Thank you. Next is consideration of the annual renewal of licenses expiring June 30th, 2026. And the first item is amusement devices. Should we just do all those together?
All of those in E.
Amusement devices, cabaret license, cigarette licenses, weights and measures license.
I'll make a motion that we approve the annual renewal license expiring June 30th, 2026 for amusement devices, cabaret licenses, cigarette licenses, and weights and measure licenses.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, item F is consideration of bartender license applications. These are renewals. And We have 4 people, and I think we take each one individually on this?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Let me move this over here. First on the list is Jamie, and I may not pronounce these right, Jamie Holmberg from Piggly Wiggly. And can I say that she? Okay. Jamie is also one of the people that did serve to a minor, or sold to a minor. And I think everyone has the documentation on that. We need a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the bartender's license for Jamie M. Holmberg.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Passes. Next is Janine Whalen from Tabi's. And, I'm sorry.
I was just looking at this special note on here from the chief, I think it was. Didn't you have a special note on there?
Yes.
This one did, so some of these, as you recall, the clerk can approve these licenses if there's no issues in the background whatsoever, but if there's even a minor infraction of any kind, we have to bring that to the board for board consideration and approval. This was one, and again, on our application, it talks about alcohol-related offenses loosely. What our definition of that has never been an exact particular violation or not. And you should have received a memo where there was some arrests that were made for disorderly conduct type charges where alcohol was part of the investigation. And then obviously the alcohol compliance check added on to that. That was after the fact that the memo was created back on May 18th, the day before the compliance checks were done on May 19th. And then it just was some issues where it should be noted that the no box was checked for the operator license application to the question, have you ever been charged or convicted of any non-traffic offense? As you'll see, those domestic related disorderly conduct charges where alcohol was involved. And then the note from the actual application, and just because those were within that 12-month period, we have to bring that information to the board for that consideration.
Thank you.
So I think everybody should, if you haven't, read that over, because, I mean, from a consistency
Yes.
standpoint, we've always denied if it's been within a year. And just the last couple of months ago, we had somebody that was like less than a month or month and a half from the 1-year mark, and we denied it to make them come back. So, I mean, obviously, if you read everything in here of these domestic abuses and things like that, and the conviction was on 10/25 of 2025.
You can do a motion to reconsider. Okay. You can do a motion to reconsider, and we can go
Okay.
back and
All right.
redo that
Well, I'll make a
one.
motion then to reconsider
On
the
which,
application for Jamie Holmberg.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we will reconsider that. Is Jamie here? Would you like to say anything or speak on anything? It's up to you. You don't have to.
I take full responsibility for my actions in serving underage. And I don't believe that some of the things that are on my record should affect my ability to hold my bartender license. That's all.
And again, as the board has considered these, oftentimes the offenses that are placed under consideration, the obvious one is operating while intoxicated, which typically, and that's clearly an alcohol-related offense. But again, with that generic definition of that, I wanted to make sure that the board understood some of those prior incidents did involve alcohol. Well, it wasn't driving and drinking, it was actions and drinking. So I just wanted them to, all of you had to have that full picture before making consideration. This is a operator's license for Piggly Wiggly. I know that they both require licenses, but definitely a different environment than serving opposed to selling.
But it's
So-
been less than a year, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in the past, the ones like you referenced, Rick, was related to an OWI. And I do see your point, Chief. I think they're, while both alcohol related, I think they're different. Somebody maybe having too much to drink and getting into some kind of an altercation in their home or with their partner or whatever, that's not the same as getting drunk at a bar and driving home and then asking if you can go sell drinks at a bar. So I don't know if I'd view them quite the same.
I just look at
Personally.
the repetition here. 10/25, 4/19, 7/4, 5/7 of 2026, so just in the last month. All related offenses. Just have to be considered too of being consistent with the 12-month rule.
Any other discussion? It would take a motion from someone, one way or another.
I'll make a motion then to deny Jamie Holmberg's application for renewal of her liquor or bartender license.
Motion was not seconded, so I need another motion.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Your mic's not on, I don't think. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve Jamie Holmberg's license. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
It passes. The next is Janine Whalen from Tabi's. Okay. Any discussion?
If it's easy to, I can just give you a little synopsis of each one if it helps
Okay,
for
thank you.
where we're at, because there's a lot of moving parts here. This one was just purely because of the alcohol compliance check that we just recently talked about. And again, alcohol-related offense within 12 months, it's an offense that's relatable. That has to come to the board for full consideration.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve Janine Whalen at Tabi's for her license.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Thank you. The next is Stacy McAney. Sorry. Working at the Gristmill.
So once again, this was strictly because of the alcohol compliance checks last month.
Make a motion, we approve the license for Stacy McAnany.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve this license. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Thank you. And our last one is Lynn McElfresh from Tabi's.
So this one is regarding a first offense operating while intoxicated that occurred on August 6, 2025 with a conviction date of 12/5 of 2025. Again, with the 12-month rule indicated on the application, this is just brought to the board's attention as 12/5 of 2025 is within that 12-month period.
Did you say this was operating a vehicle?
Correct. Operating while intoxicated, first offense, OWI offense. So this is a state forfeiture, or a
Yeah.
forfeiture,
Yeah.
not a state crime.
Yeah, that's different. Okay.
We've looked at these in the past, and I'm asking my fellow board members here, were we going off of date of offense or date of conviction in the past?
Conviction.
Conviction, okay.
That's what our law says.
And again, that's not a law, that's a note that the
Our
board
ordinance.
gives per the application.
Right.
So it's more of like a notification than it is written in any type of law or ordinance. But it is based off conviction date per the application.
Need a motion?
Bless you.
Well, I'll make a motion, I can do that, can I? To deny Lynn McElfresh's application since she is more than welcome to come back and reapply after it's been a year if this gets denied.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to deny Lynn's application. Any discussion? All those in favor of denying this application?
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, that has been denied. The next item is consideration of bartender license applications. These are for new applicants. Chief, is there anything on here? I think there's a couple.
Every one of them I can tell you something about, so do we just want to go in order? If you want to
Yep.
call them out,
Yep.
I can work it right
Okay,
through.
we'll start with Caden Stewart at Zesti's.
All right, so again, this was same thing as earlier. This was just strictly a compliance check that occurred on May 19th.
Okay,
Make a motion that we approve the license for Caden Stewart.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded to approve this application. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That one gets approved. Next is Justin Jones at the Inn.
So Mr. Jones was also alcohol compliance check. In addition to the alcohol compliance check, you're not going to see a memo because this is one that we would typically have approved, but the board does need to make consideration because there are 2 prior OWIs, one in 2016 with a conviction in 2017, and then the second one in 2017 with a conviction in 2018. Everything was disclosed on the application appropriately, and again, that we would typically approve. But again, it would have to go in front of the board for full consideration.
I'll make a motion that we approve the license for Justin Jones at the inn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve this application. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Next is Emily, oh my goodness, Brzecki at Duke's. Oh, I was close.
So this is, got nothing to do with alcohol compliance checks, since we've been saying that on the last couple, but you will see a memo where this was in regards to a first offense OWI on February 14th of this year, conviction of April 2nd of 2026. Again, due to that 12-month period not elapsing, memo was created and bringing it to the attention of the board. I'm not sure if Emily's in attendance and wants to say anything to the board as well.
Emily, are you here? Emily, are you on Zoom?
She just got convicted, Chief, you said in April of 26?
Yep.
Correct.
I'll make a motion then to deny Emily Brzecki's
Second.
application.
It's been moved and seconded to deny Emily's application. Any discussion? All those in favor of denying this applicant?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries to deny that application for Emily. Next is that Evie Duncan?
So this one again is, you'll have a memo regarding this. It's not part of the compliance checks. There is a second offense OWI or operating while intoxicated charge with an arrest date of April 1st, conviction though of September 8th of 2025. So again, with that 12-month period not elapsing, it is being brought to the attention of the board. And then just for additional information, there was a first offense OWI on January 10th of 2021, conviction of March 11th of 2021, and then had a arrest for ignition interlock device tampering on October 17th, 2024, with a conviction of March 20th of 2025.
Make a motion that we deny the license for Evie Duncan at the inn and suggest she come back after 12 months after the conviction.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to deny this applicant. Any discussion?
I'm not sure if she's in attendance as well.
She was on Zoom. Oh, yep.
Evie, are you on Zoom?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Would you like to say anything to the board?
No, I thought my conviction date was a little bit prior to that. I thought it was April, so I had that switched around. And as regarding the the IID tampering. I had moved back from Los Angeles and did not know I did not have the requirements from the first OWI had to be upheld. And so I just pulled over for a tail light and found out that I didn't have that. So that was all. I've forgotten about that. Wanted to dispose that. And it was settled and rectified pretty quickly.
Okay, thank you. It's been moved, right?
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to deny this applicant. Any more discussion? All those in favor of denying this applicant?
Aye.
Oppose? That motion carries to deny E.B. Duncan the applicant. Next is Mark Pape from the Legion.
So this one, you do not have a memo because it's outside of the 12-month period as indicated on the application. However, there are 3 prior OWIs, so just bringing that to the attention of the board. There was one in 2000, both arrest and conviction. There was the second offense in 2003 with a conviction in 2004, and then February of 2023 was the third offense with a conviction in February of 2024. Nothing within the 12-month period.
And we don't have anything on the ordinance with, when it happens every year or like multiple times where there's a pattern set, there's nothing, is there anything?
You can't, that's all things the board can take under consideration. What they call that is like habitual offenses. One thing I would say here, well, there's 3 offenses. 2 did occur over 20 years ago. Obviously, a little lapse here more recently, but with that such a big break in time, I don't know if that would be considered a habitual issue.
Okay, we may want to look at that, maybe down the road with ordinances or tightening something up, possibly.
There's always a lot of factors to consider. And
Right,
that's
there
why
are.
open discussion, we're probably best having that open discussion when considering an applicant. Personally, I can speak to the character of Mark, and I would say that I would make a motion to approve his license.
I wasn't referring to him.
Yeah, I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Mark Pape's applicant or application. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? That passes. Next is Jared Slawinski at the end.
This was not a memo. This just bringing some attention to the board because it was not one that could be passed without your consideration. I did sign off on the application that the background was completed. There was just some discrepancies. Not all the information attached below that I write in my email memo was disclosed on the application. We asked a series of questions for the disclosures. He did disclose an OWI ad in Pewaukee that he stated occurred in 2017, but he was arrested in July of 2016 and then convicted in December of 2016. He also disclosed that he had been charged or convicted of disorderly conduct in March of 2026 in Dodge County. It appears he was charged with felony domestic abuse, substantial battery charges, and disorderly conduct, but both were dismissed. Appears in CCAP that he was found guilty of non-criminal disorderly conduct due to a no contest plea. He also indicated that he had been charged or convicted of violating any law or ordinance regarding the sale of alcohol. There is not an area on the application to further explain the incident, but I found that he sold to an underage subject in the village of Pewaukee during one of their alcohol compliance checks on December 14th, 2018, and received a citation for that. Some of the information that was not disclosed as being charged and or convicted of any non-traffic offense in either Wisconsin DOJ background check or our in-house record management. We had a non-criminal assaultive behavior through UWM Police Department in 2011. Unfortunately, I could not find a disposition of that, but there does look like an arrest was made or a citation was issued. Another non-criminal, so citation, possession of controlled substance or drug paraphernalia through Brookfield. Both those charges were dismissed. Non-criminal disorderly conduct through Brookfield. There was a conviction date on that citation in January 23rd of 2014. And then finally, misdemeanor domestic abuse, disorderly conduct, intentionally pointing firearm at a person through Waukesha County Sheriff's Department. Both those charges were dismissed. And then one citation was issued for resisting obstructing through the Brookfield Police Department for an incident that occurred on November 3rd, 2014. And they did not have a disposition on the citation listed within those records. And again, I don't know if Jared is in attendance or not, if he has anything.
Jared,
to
are
add.
you here? Did you want to speak or say anything? Okay, thank you.
Well, most of those dates that you mentioned are over 15 years old, right?
Correct. Nothing within the 12 months. Like I said, this would typically be an approval on my end. It has to come to the board because it's got things for consideration for the board, for our policy and procedure on it, and then just wanted to highlight some of the things weren't completely disclosed on the application.
Motion to approve, Jared.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve this applicant. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? That applicant is approved. Thank you. Next is Vincent Hunt at Duke's Bar and Grill.
So this one, it was just merely old OWI offense from 2006, I believe. Again, just because it had something in the background, the board has to take it for consideration. This was something we approved
Okay,
on the
thank you.
background side of it.
Make a motion to approve, sorry, Rick. Make a motion to approve Vincent Hunt for Duke's Bar and Grill.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Vincent Hunt's application. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? That has been approved and passes. Thank you, all. Next are the other items of consideration. Do I need this? I don't need that, do I?
No.
Okay. Conceptual review of owner-occupied office building at 345 Cottonwood Drive.
Hi, greetings. I'm Kelly Runs, one of the co-owners of the current property at 345 Cottonwood Avenue. Here to propose the addition of a second dwelling, office building at the rear of the parking lot. This is the recently purchased red Victorian building over on Cottonwood. In this case, my husband and I are the owners of that property through our LLC. My husband's business now occupies the original house that is zoned B3 commercial, and we are proposing a tear down of the existing garage that resides behind that house, and then adding an approximately 2,016 square foot single-story building at the rear of the lot, which would be on the west side of the lot, with the parking area in between the two buildings. My business would be the one occupying the second business at that property.
Thank you. And this is again just conceptual for the board, and it would need to go to architectural if we move it on.
I'll make a motion then to approve the conceptual review of the owner-occupied office building at 345 Cottonwood Drive.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the conceptual review of 345 Cottonwood Drive. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved.
Thank you.
And that is going to be next Monday?
That will be on next Monday's
Next
Plan
Monday.
Commission.
Thank you. Next is discussion and consideration to allow a new Ice Age trail route through the Cottonwood Wayside property. And we did hear on this earlier.
We do have someone, I believe, Chad, are you on Zoom?
Yep. Good evening, everyone. This is Chad calling in from Cross Plains. I'm the field project manager for the Ice Age Trail Alliance. Good to see our local volunteers there in the crowd. I was in attendance a few months ago when we brought this up and talked about the idea and how we can work together to make it happen. So I don't know if we can pull in the map and talk about this a little more, just to kind of let others that maybe weren't in attendance from the village board see the Yes, the map, the first map just kind of shows the red is on the right side, or the east side is the existing route, and the yellow is what we're proposing. And quite a incredible effort by the village, by our volunteers from the Ice Age Trail Alliance, by Waukesha County Land Conservancy, to really get this piece of property looking fantastic. And so part of the sort of standards of the Ice Age National Scenic Trail is to interpret, glacial features and get people off of roads and, paved surfaces. And in this case, this is a wonderful opportunity to bring people through a wonderfully restored piece of property that, we've been working on and the village has been working on for the last few years. And so, working with Tom on this, we were on the site, walked it, got support from Waukesha County Land Conservancy, who I believe is on the call too. Allison's there, and just sort of working with the village to see about the crossing. Would be another crossing of Cottonwood Avenue. So that's sort of why we're back here. What would it take bring hikers across the road there is sort of what we're sort of hung up on here.
Okay, Tom?
Right, yeah, so last time Chad was here, kind of gave the same presentation about all the work that Ice Age Trail has done, along with what we've done over at the Cottonwood Wayside property. Again, he's saying that yellow trail that's highlighted on that map would be the trail, so you can see only a portion of that actually cuts through our property. That yellow section that comes down from the Park Pavilion at the Cottonwood Wayside, that's already being in use, and even this trail in yellow is already being in use. The issue that we have from a safety standpoint, like Chad pointed to, was the crossing at Cottonwood Wayside. Our engineers, to approve this, need truncated dome to pass ADA compliance. Just even if it's not a sidewalk adjacent to it or touching that area, a pedestrian needs that area to safely, on a flat level surface, assess the traffic before walking across. And everyone thinks of ADA as just someone in a wheelchair, and that's not the case. ADA falls under a lot of other things, as far as vision impaired, hearing impaired, or any other issue that someone may have with mobility. So you guys asked me to find out some more information on this. The estimated cost from our engineer, R&M, is $15,000 for truncated dome on each side of this, and that's just based on the elevation of that road on each side, and bringing out that gravel shoulder is a pretty severe decline on each side of that. So that's kind of that, the painting of a stripe across the road and proper signage. And then there's always the long-term factor of, is this going to eventually draw the attention of a flashing beacon, which we have seen in recent locations. Ryan has pointed out the potential use of this property in the future, and if this would be a concern to that potential use, if this was ever to be developed or used for another use. There's been interest in this property for other things. So those are just some of the concerns that, or notions to point out for this. Other than that, that area and that trail is already being used. It's just not a blazed trail. It's not a trail that's actually on the map and dictated by the Ice Age Trail as far as being visually there. But people are using that portion of it.
Can you expand on the gentleman that mentioned in public comments that there's something, another way about that that's cheaper?
I don't know what the gentleman was referring to on that, because right now go ahead, Chad.
Well, I don't know if Allison wants to talk, but I can. Mark Miner mentioned, yes, right now there's a crossing that we, just to the south there, that we're utilizing to stay on the east side of the road there. But there is a crossing that could be utilized just a few feet up from where we're trying to cross. It would still be active. We're not going to close that trail. It's still a paved path that's open to anyone in the village. So if it was deemed that it needed to be accessible, we could still utilize that crossing, which is at the corner of what is that, Long Meadow Drive there, when you come out of the woods. I'm sorry, not Long Meadow.
Lindenwood.
Lindenwood.
Yeah. And I don't know if Allison wants to speak on behalf of the Conservancy there.
So we had the opportunity to walk with a number of Ice Trail Alliance folks and kind of mark out where the ideal trail would be. We had no opposition to the reroute of the trail at all. We thought it made perfect sense and a great way for folks to really utilize some of the more scenic route.
Tom, is this top, the northern yellow line, is that where the gravel drive is that goes down?
Yes.
Because I go there quite a bit.
Yeah, that's Waukesha Land Conservancy.
Is there any
property.
way that this could be moved south so it's not where it goes down so fast?
If you actually brought that further south, it actually goes, it's deeper. Bringing it across right where that driveway approach is more to grade. It's more so on the east side of the street. That's a severe ditch right there.
Because that road the visibility pulling out of there is awful.
Yep, so that's kind of another thing is clearing along the side of that road, so someone can see coming southbound on there through the marsh. So taking back that shoulder with the existing trees that are there in the right-of-way is kind of another safety concern for that location.
And is that 15,000 that you gave us, does that include the crosswalk and the leveling of that area?
So
or
yeah,
filling
that's
in?
2 ADA ramps, stone base, adjacent grading to match, crosswalk signage, and pavement marking. So that would be the package deal.
And is Cottonwood, this is a stupid question, is that a county road?
Nope, that is a Village of Hartland road.
That's what I thought's village,
That's our
okay.
road, yep.
One more question. Truncated dome?
Yep, so that's just the technical term for the yellow metal
Okay.
platform that you'll see at all of our new landings and stuff. The reason why we're spending so much money in Four Winds and stuff like that is because ADA standards have changed, so we have to match it anytime we do any road improvement. So because of that, we are ripping out every single ADA ramp to make it compliance to the new standard.
Just for some history, we had an applicant that came to the park board that wanted to put in a Frisbee golf park there as well. And it wasn't big enough for 18, and so they're thinking about 9, and I think they kind of just bagged it from there.
Yes, that was one of the other uses that was being discussed. There was also short talk of a development in that area potentially down the road. And talks of a ball field too.
There's no utilities down there, are there?
There are no utilities. That would be the most expensive part of that property. Trying to put any development in there, they would probably need a lift station of some sort to make sanitary work. Sanitary sewer.
And I'll just add from the Ice Age Trail Alliance standpoint, certainly crossing roads is, I think we have over 3,000 in the state. And, in this particular area, I realize there's marked crossings, up and down Cottonwood. So obviously, hey, let's cross it another time, but not ideal. But in this case, it was the community support we received for replacing boardwalks there. Like we were going to actually abandon those boardwalks. And, the community said, hey, wait a second, we like this loop as a local resource, right, to hike. And so over the course of the last 2.5 years, we've replaced, well over 600 feet of boardwalk in that park. And so you sort of you invest more time, you spend a little more time there, like, oh, look at this wonderful property that WCLC owns. And, why aren't we not bringing people through? So I guess from a National Scenic Trail standpoint, that's why we sort of brought this to the attention of the village. And we certainly are aware of the dangers of crossing roads and whatnot. There is already a social trail there, so people from that development are already walking there. So we would just make it better, open it up. And I guess, the Alliance is willing, the $15,000 price tag is a little much, but we'd be willing to, if it was just a marked crossing with, painted ladder striping, where it was, maybe more of the couple thousands of dollars, we'd be willing to work with the village on, coming up with that. But, the community, our volunteers that are in the audience there are really, the other partners in this operation are really quite excited about the opportunity to bring it to white blaze or yellow blazed trail across the road. So, but again, it's up to the village.
Chad, what's the time frame that you want to do this? You want to do it like now, or can we wait till budget time and talk about it for next year, or what? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so that is kind of the history or the story of the trail. It's sometimes there's hot topics, right? But they get tabled. In this case, it was just the momentum of finishing these boardwalks. We sort of come to a really wonderful restoration standpoint, and so this was like, sort of the momentum was there. But obviously, we have existing trail that's working okay across the road. This is just a nice, something we're always kind of trying to do is offer a more appealing environment for our users. So it's not, having trail is great, right? If we didn't have a trail, then this would probably be a little more of a priority, but it's not exactly, a high priority, but it's just, like I said, the energy is behind it with these people you see in front of you.
Thank you, Chad. Without Ryan being here, I don't know about the financial end of it. Like you said, do we need to wait until we go through budget again?
I would recommend putting this on a CIP plan, kind of as an improvement. If this was to get approved and that's the direction the board would want to go, I would definitely want to budget a $15,000 expense that's going to have engineers involved and contractors involved and everything else like that. I wouldn't want to just try to get this done quickly.
Yeah, and if we do this, Tom, I agree, and I think we have to do it with the 88 domes. We have to do it properly.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love the idea that Ice Age community is willing to help in some fashion, and I think if we can have that conversation and we can share in some of that responsibility, that'd make me feel a lot better about it. But I also think we need to do it the right way and the right time and have it budgeted properly. We can't just pull money out of it.
Chad, can the Ice Age Trail donate anything toward that 15,000?
I guess we sort of have to look at where our money's going, but I think we could probably help out with that. I guess I'm asking it's no matter what we do in the village, like if you're crossing a road, there needs to be some sort of accessible crossing, even though there might be one a couple hundred feet up the road. Is that what we're sort of discussing right now, Tom?
Yes, yeah. Basically, if we're doing any improvement or approving anything at this point with the new ADA standard that's in place, for our engineers to sign it and for our village board and staff to get behind anything, it needs to be up to ADA standards. So that's kind of, there is a crosswalk on the other side of that goes to nowhere. That was a grandfathered crosswalk that we would not allow at this point in time.
Sure.
I just want to be realistic. How many of your walkers are actually going to come out and see that they have to walk down this, south and up the hill, right, to go to the crosswalk and then come back around and then go north? How many people are just going to cross the street? I mean, I would. I wouldn't go all the way up there and come back. I'm just trying to be realistic. So, I mean, I have no problem putting it on the budget for next year and get it done. Maybe we don't even have to need their help. It's only 15, so, maybe we can work that in the budget for next year.
I think planning to have this as part of our budget discussion is something that is necessary.
Yeah, and as Tom said too, I mean, I guess from a funding standpoint right there, the nice thing is there's trail already there. So we're just sort of overlaying trail in this parcel. So yes, that's one thing we do bring. We bring volunteers that can maintain it. But then, yes, we do also bring, some ability to raise funds if this is, a high priority, which, a lot of our local Waukesha County people feel is critical to the overall value of the trail.
I would need a motion to have it put on the agenda for our budget, if that's the way the board wants to do it, or however.
Did you want to recognize a comment?
Well, can we do that again? I'm sorry. Recognize a
Okay.
comment from the. Okay. Oh, step up to the mic, please, and give your name and address.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be brief. Jeff Sotkamp, 280 Hickory Court, Hartland. Tom, I believe you mentioned you have to make these changes in compliance with the revised ADAs with road improvements, is what you.
Yep.
I don't believe we're talking about road improvement here at all, Chad, are we? With the trail crossing?
No, we're just talking about a road.
Yeah, it's not a road improvement.
It's not an improvement.
No, but a crosswalk is.
It's a right-of-way improvement that is promoting pedestrian traffic in the village. So it is an improvement, correct? We would be contracting this work out. We would be promoting traffic across it. So for us to safely dictate pedestrians across that road, we would, yeah, that would be an improvement.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for clarifying that.
Yep.
I appreciate the time.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So we just need a motion to put this
Put it
on
on
the
the
budget
budget.
discussions?
Uh-huh.
All right, I'll make a motion then that we put the Ice Age Trail Route and crosswalk for Cottonwood Wayside property on in the budget discussions.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to put this agenda item for the new Ice Age Trail Route on our budget agenda. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Tom, is that something that you would follow through on, or is that something that
Yep, I will
Ryan-
talk to Ryan, because this year's not a CIP year.
Okay.
Which is where I would think this would go. I will talk with Ryan as far as where he thinks is applicable, and we'll give that to you guys at budget time.
Okay, thank you very much. Next on the.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Chad.
Yep.
Thank you,
Happy
everybody.
to take you out there anytime if you want to see it, board members.
Love it, thanks.
I would like to.
Y'all have to take my dogs, though. They love it out there.
Yeah,
Next on the.
Bring your lobbers along.
Is consideration of Eller's written municipal client disclosure with the Village of Hartland for the developer pro forma review Luther Group. And I believe Sandy is going to handle that one.
Yep, so items 7 and 8, they're on the agenda separately, but they are related to one another. We are looking to engage with Ellers, our financial advisors, to review the ability to create a tax incremental district, which would be number 8. This would be on Capitol Drive, where the proposed hotel is. So they would be looking and representing the village in both of these, looking into the ability to create that tax incremental district, and then on the other agreement, reviewing the proposed developer's proposal for their business to develop there. So again, separate agreements, but related, and if they are approved, I would ask for 2 motions since they are 2 separate agreements.
Well, we'll start with number 7.
I'll make a motion to approve Eller's written municipal client disclosure with the Village of Hartland for developer pro forma review Luther Group.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve item number 7. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? That carries. Item number 8.
I'll make a motion then. I'll make a motion to approve Eller's written municipal client disclosure with the Village of Hartland for 2026 tax incremental finance district number 8.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve item number 8. I'm not going to read it. Any discussion?
Yes. Is this, of the TID number 8, is the, anything different from the previous TID as far as the language?
Nothing would be different. I mean, nothing is established yet. They would
Okay,
create
so
that. So, I mean, there's nothing right now, and it would go through the whole approval process with the taxing jurisdictions and the Joint Review Board. And that would be something that would eventually come to the board.
Rick made the motion.
You didn't hear on my microphone?
And Adam.
It's been moved and seconded to approve item number 8. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Thank you. Item number 9. I am going to go ahead and do this, I guess. We would like to appoint Mr. Tim Halquist as a citizen member to the Plan Commission Architectural Board for a 3-year term, and this would be by President Vanderstill, AKA me, I guess. We don't need a motion, right? Do we need a motion?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
So are you making?
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. No discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Tom?
I abstain.
Okay, you're on for 3 more years. You can't go anywhere. Item number 10, discussion and consideration of draft ordinance regarding e-bike regulations. And I believe Police Chief and Mr. Halquist have been working on this.
I reviewed the initial ordinance, and I just had 2 comments. One, can we put something in there for helmets under 16? Okay. And then also, line number 77, it says, e-scooters can't be on the roads if it's 25 on the roads. Well, if it's over 25, all of our roads in the city are 20, or in the village are 25. So we don't want them on there at all, do we? I mean,
It's up to the board, so I could go through a couple of different spots, and then what we did is we took some of that language that was in that Greendale ordinance that we use as kind of like our starting point. After some of the discussion of the board, I took what was being discussed and we kind of just made a really generic ordinance, so you get to fill in the blanks anywhere the board wants to see restrictions or not. And maybe the easiest thing is I can walk through just a couple different areas and highlight them. Any questions or discussion that you want to have amongst yourselves, well, you can definitely do whatever you feel fit for the safety of the community.
Chief, can you start out with telling us, I went through and made a chart of Class 1, Class 2, Class 3.
Sure.
But to let everybody know what those are and where, and when you say scooter, for instance, I had 2 boys yesterday going on the wrong side of the road with the motorized, the ones you stand on. Now, is that a scooter? Or?
Correct.
Okay. And where that falls in, if you can just let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. So the ordinance, page 1's a lot of the whereas, typical ordinance language. Section 1 gets us into the definitions. And jumping to page 2, line 34, where it starts really defining the different type of devices that fall within this ordinance. So these would be for electric bicycles. This is straight from state statute, so there's no difference here. The state statute has already defined all of these pieces of equipment. So there's a class 1, 2, and 3 electric bicycle. You can read what those are. Basically, your electric 1 can reach a speed of 20 miles per hour with assistance, so pedal assistance. Your class 2, you can actually use throttle, so you don't have to pedal. It's not assisted. It could just be throttled to that same 20 miles per hour. And then class 3 is again back to the assistance, but up to 28 miles per hour. So a little more speed.
And they have to be 16 years old, right?
Correct. And we get into some of those age restrictions as we work our way through the ordinance. And then that electric scooter, it talks about the different verbiage as to how that's defined and what that device looks like. That the main thing is it's again at that 20 miles per hour. Then we get into some of the general rules. One thing too when we're defining these things is there has been, I think, some confusion with what's an electric bicycle and what's like an electric moped / motorcycle. Those are 2 different things. There's motor specifications that are identified within these definitions, and then obviously speeds. Some of those, your electric mopeds and motorcycles can go just as fast as a motorcycle and or moped, and those are completely licensed through the DOT like a motorcycle or a moped would be. Registration, license requirements, age requirements, no different than if you were on a regular gas-powered moped/motorcycle. And again, that does come up often, and I think there's been even some recent incidents where people under the age were operating those. This ordinance would have nothing to do with those. There's already state law that addresses those concerns. And sometimes those, again, do blur together a little bit. Riders, in general rules, down in line 68, it just talks about how riders must comply with all traffic regulations that are applicable to bicycles. That's all governed under Wisconsin State Statute 346-803, whether you're on the regular pedal bicycle or one of these electrical assisted or actuated devices. Going a little more into the class-specific restrictions, this is where the board can start adding areas that they want to see restrictions on. And I left this fairly generic for a couple reasons. If there's a specific area we know right here sitting now we want to identify in the ordinance, absolutely no problems with that. What I did leave a little thing here with is unless it's restricted by signage or a local ordinance. And what the nice thing about that is if we start seeing a particular problem area, that it gives us the ability to put signage up and not have to come back and redo ordinance language and the readings and everything with that. We can make a little more game time, information informed decisions then. Same thing with the class 3. I left it that way again. If there's a certain area where like, hey, the class 3, that's that next level up, that 28 miles an hour, I'd prefer not to see them in X or Y location. We can identify that right away and put that in here. Or again, we got the sign and we can just put signs in those areas, and then that would be restricted per the ordinance as well. As you see on that one, riders must be at least 16 years of age to operate these class 3 electric bicycles. And again, that is governed by Wisconsin state statute. The electric scooters, I was actually meaning to remove the miles per hour because I want to leave that open to the board on where you felt it was appropriate, what that speed limit, or you can completely remove that. It's up to the board. I always say this, bicycles are allowed on the road if it's 25, if it's 35, if it's 45. I look at these a lot as very similar to bicycles, and I do think there has been a lot of confusion as of late with these mopeds and motorcycle type devices that are way more powerful, moving at way faster speeds that confuse some of that issue. But again, that is a board decision if we even have any type of restriction or at what mile per hour you feel that that's safe to be operating along with. There was talk about the helmet in the original Greendale version of this ordinance that we use as kind of a template to get us a starting point. And that was removed just after, I took it out after I heard the discussion from the board, and it sounded like it was more like it was going towards a parental responsibility over a village. But again, that can absolutely be added back in if the board deems that appropriate. Again, we don't have helmet restrictions when it comes to bicycles. I know even with the electric ability of these devices, you start talking 20 or 28 miles an hour, those are speeds you can reach on a pedal bicycle. It just sometimes doesn't seem that way. Obviously a little more ease doing this or with the assistance, but those are similar in how they can operate and what type of speeds they can get up to. Right now, our ordinance allows bicycles to be on the sidewalk. So that's how that reads for number 2 under line 79, that the electric scooters may be operated on the sidewalks, including those bicycle ways and recreation trails. Again, kind of treated that electric scooter as bicycles. I would say this, the electric scooters, you do see a lot more of the youth or younger riders on. So I do know there's debate where we want to see them. The only area I struggle on is when I do see them on a sidewalk. Just the other day, I was driving down Merton Avenue. They were on the sidewalk and no one else was on that sidewalk. I like that scooter on that sidewalk. Now, when that sidewalk's busy, does that become more problematic? On a road like Merton Avenue, now you have potential young children on that roadway.
In regards to that, if it's dark out, they need to have lights and
Correct.
and the tail light, right?
Yep, that's same governed under state statute. Same, if, technically you need that on a bicycle as well.
Okay.
And you can be stopped and cited for that on a regular pedal bicycle, as we see here
My
today.
children were stopped and warned.
Yep, and or warned. We try to use a lot of discretion, especially when it comes to our youth. Then you'll see the rest of those subsections within electric scooters. The next couple talk about parking and making sure scooters aren't all over the place, just trying to keep that in line. I don't see a major issue with that, but why not be proactive and keep it clean? And then the final one under sub 7 in line 89, that just talks about those short term, like bird, lime, or whatever those type are. I don't even see those in this area, but again, do we get ahead of the curve if we're doing this? A lot of communities are looking at that and the problems that they tend to bring with them. Then that next subsection 3 was talking about those age requirements. So line number 91, no person under 16 years of age can operate that class 3 electric bicycle. That's state statute. There is a caveat to that, is some of these bicycles do have like passenger compartments to them, and you are allowed to be in an appropriate passenger compartment on a class 3 as long as it's designated as such if you're under 16. So the driver has to be over 16, but they could have an under 16 passenger in a designated passenger area. Yeah, they have like these little baskets. Yeah, they're out there. Yeah. Number 4 is talking about motor power and speed limits. This is some of the things I kind of talked about. The state statute already restricts that the motor of 750 watts or less comply with federal regulations. We just basically took that information and put it into the ordinance. And then again, the prohibited areas is left very generic on purpose for the board to make those decisions. If there's a specific area you want to see restricted within the village, we can identify those. But as you will see towards the end of that paragraph, such areas shall be clearly marked with appropriate signage. We have that signage area that we can then restrict if we do learn of something down the road and we want to restrict a particular area. And the last page is just your, again, typical ordinance, generic language, so nothing really to merit in regards to e-bikes or scooters. Questions, comments, or I guess if...
I have a commented question. It's why, as a state even, are we allowing kids under the age of 16 without a driver's license to be on a vehicle, electric, battery operated, whatever, that goes 25 miles an hour on the roads?
So you can't go 25 miles an hour. That would be a class 3. They have to be 16, and you could be on a motorcycle going 70 miles down I-94 at that point. So that is, if you want my true answer to that question. And then I think what you're getting to is like the class 1 and 2, where you're going to 20 miles per hour. You can do that on a pedal bicycle as well. So that's where I think they're trying to find that kids need to get around and do kid things, and I think we all appreciate that. That's part of figuring out life, and I think the state's trying to show that we understand that. So again, that's up to the board where we want to restrict certain areas, but...
And to that question, I think, and I kind of alluded to this with the helmets in the last time we talked about this, was I think some of this needs to be left to the parents to parent and the kids to learn.
That I see and where I'm...
Well, and I think they might get some hard lessons that way.
Yeah.
I mean, frankly, and truly, I mean, I don't want to sound rough, but you can't police everything.
Oh, I know. But something that I think is not watched real strictly, because there's so much other stuff going on, is making sure that these people, these bikers are following the rules. Like, and when I say this, I'm saying that they're not zigzagging in between the cars, coming up and actually scraping the side of your car.
Sure.
On purpose sometimes, as they're going by and going in front of you.
Well, and to throw another example out there of bikers, the ones that are riding an actual bike and wearing a helmet and wearing all the leotards and all the things, those guys and gals don't follow any rules, none. They take it like the road is there, stop signs are not there, it's optional. They go through
Give it
big
a
groups,
ticket.
and so whether they're kids riding on electric bikes, 16-year-olds riding electric scooters, 40-year-olds wearing leotards, none of the people on two wheels seem to follow the rules very well. So I don't know, I think we should have rules in place. I think this is a
Yep.
great idea. I think
it's a great place to start.
Yeah, I just think we need to keep ourselves within check. I don't think we need to get too down into the minutia.
Keeping it more broad like you've done is great. Okay, so do we want to go ahead and draft this then? Do we need a motion to do that? Does anyone have any changes to this?
Will this go through a 3-reading process?
Yes.
We're agreeing to
Yes.
start the process? Yeah,
Yes.
then I think let's start it at least, right?
Chief, was there something you said you wanted changed? The miles taken off with the scooter or something?
I meant to leave that blank for the board to decide on that, and that just was a quick oversight because we were going back and forth for so long, and I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss this meeting to get
Okay.
this on the agenda, because we've been talking about this for months, and we were getting feedback back and forth from our attorneys on what's allowed and what's not, and I just wanted to make sure I could get it, and I missed blank that out.
So you want that?
No, you could leave it, you can not have anything, I
We
was
can
just
discuss that
giving the
during the
board
3 readings.
options
We can
to
discuss that
say
during the 3
Okay,
readings.
okay.
what they wanted.
Okay, so we'll go through with it as it is now and go through the 3 readings.
Right.
Okay.
And I would say from our perspective, we don't get a lot of safety complaints to the PD. We'll hear things once in a while, but I'll hear them about bicycles as well. And we've had issues downtown with bicycles because they'll bike on the sidewalk, and unfortunately on some of these driveways, when you pull out, if they're biking, you don't see them until you're coming up, and that becomes problematic from time to time. But that can happen on a bicycle, on an e-scooter, on an e-bike. So those are the only like pinch point areas that we see from time to time. And then of course, I'm not naive to think people aren't stopping at every stop sign, and all those kind of things are happening for sure.
Well, let's get the process started.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with the draft ordinance regarding e-bike regulations.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to forward the draft ordinance for e-bikes on to formalizing it. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries, so that'll start coming through. Announcements.
Since I got the microphone, I got one quick one. We have PFC interviews tomorrow night for some police officer candidates. I do wanted to just note that this will include some non-certified candidates. I think there was some possible confusion on what that means or doesn't mean. Police departments do hire what they call non-certified candidates. That would require us then to send them through a police academy to become certified. That wouldn't mean that they would just start policing in a non-certified capacity. So that's just the next step in the process, is we will be interviewing to include some non-certified applicants that did right for the position.
Thank you.
Just starting off 1 month, 24 days. My job is up on a bunch of the websites in the state. The Police and Fire Commission is accepting applications at this time until the 12th. We have been working this past 2 weeks. We were asked if we wanted to get in on our regional grant with Lake Country and Western Lakes for new thermal imaging cameras. So we are currently putting all of our stuff together for them, and then we will be filing a regional grant for new thermal imaging cameras for the 3 departments.
Awesome.
And both ambulances are finally back in service after lengthy times at the dealership getting repaired.
Thank you.
Not too much of an update elsewhere for the fire department. We got those safes installed in both ambulances. They're working as they should. They're actually tracking the medications that are in them with our RFID chips that are tied to each one of the vials that hold them. We'll be getting the main vault safe later on this month, which will be the one that will track everything that sits at the station itself and has limited access from personnel at the station. Essentially, it's me and one other person that will be able to access it, and that is it. And then we restock the ambulances when they start running low. Other than that, we have our Summer Fire Academy starting up next week. We got two new hire members that are going to be starting with that academy, and they'll be doing that for 3 weeks. That's all I got.
Thank you.
All right, Stark Paving has completed paving of portion of Hartbrook's paths. All of Hartbrook West paths have been completely redone. They are just awaiting restoration, and a portion of Hartbrook Park side, the east side of the river, has been completed as well. Stark has begun pulverizing. They started last week, Friday, Fort Wayne subdivision, so that's getting tore up and kind of moving right along on schedule, even though we have had some rain recently. The utility project is still going along to replacing outfalls for our stormwater inlet pipes. And I don't know if any of you board members heard, but there was some concerns about the outfall pipe at Nixon Park as far as the grates being too large for children to get through on beer garden night especially. So we did just pull that grate and made more supports and brackets across that to make it more difficult to enter into our stormwater system over in Nixon Park. And then we had a fourth pre-construction meeting at Eagle Pass Development. There's been a kind of back and forth. We had the excavating company, the main excavating company, kind of drop out. There was a loss of Terry from Terry's Excavating, who was the main contractor for that job as far as the earthwork. So there was kind of some sorting out right there. Rams is now taking over that portion of the job over there, so we're going to start seeing some work here, and Rams will get up in there and make a fast job of that. So more work is going to be starting again. It's been sitting vacant for a while, so that's all I have.
Thank you.
We have our summer camp starting in a week, so primary focus is getting that all ready to go, and then hometown is coming up very quickly. Still looking for volunteers, so if you know anyone that wants to work, send them my way.
Thank you, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Good here.
My daughter's going to be disappointed to hear about the grate, but she's up for the challenge.
Wow, your kids are on a roll.
Okay,
if you've met my
I
daughter.
don't have anything either, so
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right, we are adjourned.
Do we have a
Oh,
vote?
I can't, I just do it without a vote? Okay, all those in
Rookie.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You guys gotta sit here till 10. Okay, we're done.